Welcome to another spine-chilling episode where the ordinary turns into the extraordinary and the terrifying. Tonight, we unravel 3 creepy true horror stories that will send shivers down your spine and keep you looking over your shoulder. Dim the lights, settle in, and prepare for an unforgettable journey into the eerie unknown. One weekend, I was house-sitting for my grandma while she traveled to Florida with some friends from church. I slept in the guest bedroom next to her room, which always had 2 twin beds that my brother and I used during sleepovers. I chose the bed by the window, and before getting in, checked all the doors to ensure they were locked. It was still early when I got into bed, and I didn't fall asleep right away. There wasn't much to do at my grandma's house, so I spent a couple of hours on my phone, watching videos and texting friends. Then, I began to hear a woman's voice outside, repeatedly saying, "Hello." Curious and a bit uneasy, I quietly left the bedroom and crept toward the front door to listen. The voice was coming from outside, calling hello every 10 seconds. As I approached the door, I realized it was indeed emanating from there. My grandma's door lacked a peephole, but the dining room windows overlooked the front porch, so I moved to the window to see who was outside. I cautiously peeked through the plastic blinds, trying not to be too obvious. To my shock, I saw an older woman standing on the stoop, staring directly at me with an unnerving smile. She was in her late 50s or early 60s, and something about her expression made my skin crawl. I stepped back from the window, wondering if she could be one of my grandma's friends. But it was midnight. Why would anyone come by at this hour without knocking or ringing the bell? I felt genuinely unsettled and returned to the guest bedroom, shutting the door behind me. With the door closed, I couldn't hear her anymore, which was either a relief or a sign she had left. I started texting my sisters and friends about the bizarre encounter. They urged me to call my grandma, but I knew she wouldn't be awake and rarely checked her phone. Just then, a loud bang at the window shattered the silence. It wasn't a gentle knock, it was a forceful bang. My heart raced as I entered fight or flight mode. After the banging stopped, I heard the familiar voice call out again, "Hello." Fueled by adrenaline, I yanked the blinds up. There she was, the horrifying older woman. Only a thin layer of glass separated us. I screamed, "I'm calling the cops," and quickly pulled the blinds back down before sprinting to the living room. Looking around the house, I dashed upstairs and locked myself in the guest bedroom. I didn't want to call the police, but I figured I would just wait it out. I crawled under the covers and remained awake for a couple of hours. Finally, I mustered the courage to check outside from each window. To my relief, the creepy old lady had vanished. The next morning, I called my grandma to tell her what had happened. She panicked and began yelling into the phone, clearly distressed. She told me that just a few days earlier, she had been watched by a woman in the grocery store who kept smiling at her for no reason. I tried to calm her down, unsure if there was a connection between the 2 incidents. However, her frightened tone sent chills down my spine, making me wonder if it was the same person. My name is Nicholas, and I'm a freshman at Syracuse University, which is located in a rather unsafe area. After going through a breakup with my first girlfriend, I decided to re-enter the online dating scene. While using Hinge, I connected with a blonde girl named Stephanie, who also attended Syracuse. We shared interests in reading, movies, and humor. I suggested a movie date, and she agreed, telling me to meet her at a specific spot near campus so she could pick me up. At around 9 o'clock, I waited on a corner of a typical neighborhood block. Stephanie asked me to share my location, so I did. A few minutes later, a car turned down the street and stopped in front of me. The driver rolled down the window, but it wasn't Stephanie. Instead, an older man asked what I was doing alone. I found it odd, but I told him I was waiting for someone. He then asked if I was waiting for Stephanie. When I said yes, he claimed to be her father and insisted I get in for a ride to her. I scrutinized him. He looked too old to be her father. Alarm bells went off in my head. I firmly replied, "Why didn't you tell me you'd be picking me up?" He said he didn't trust a random guy meeting his daughter and wanted to meet me first. I didn't respond. Instead, I began walking away in the opposite direction. "Hey, hey," he called out, sounding surprised. I knew better than to engage in potentially dangerous situations. I glanced back and saw him drive straight ahead before turning left out of sight. As I walked toward campus, I felt a sense of relief. However, as I approached an intersection, I spotted what looked like the same car parked with its lights off. I tried not to show my suspicion as I passed by, but I received a text from Stephanie asking why I hadn't gotten into the car with her dad. Ignoring the text, I quickened my pace. When I reached campus, I felt footsteps behind me. Initially, I thought I was being paranoid, but then I heard the unmistakable sound of glass crunching underfoot. I ducked behind a van, straining to listen. The footsteps were getting closer, and then I saw him, the old man, emerging from between 2 cars across from me. "Come back and I'll take you to her," he yelled, but I knew I had to run. He looked to be in his 60s, and I figured I could easily outrun him. I sprinted away and quickly made it back to my dorm room. My roommate wasn't there, and I had no one to talk to about the incident. As I lay in bed, I received another text from the man. It shocked me. It read, "You're a little piece of fucking shit. You're lucky you got away. I would have strangled your ugly ass." I took a screenshot and replied, "Thanks for the threat. It's going straight to the police," before blocking his number. I saved the conversation as evidence, planning to report it eventually. I hope the authorities can do something about it. When I was 18, I worked part-time as a janitor at my high school over the summer. My shifts varied, sometimes ending as late as midnight. Often, I was left alone to lock up the building after the older janitors had left. At that time, the school didn't have cameras installed in every hallway. One night, my supervisor Tom left early, meaning I was responsible for finishing the rest of my shift alone. He told me to text him if I needed anything, as usual, and then left. I enjoyed being alone. It often meant I could do half an hour of work and then spend the rest of my shift on my phone or leave early while still getting paid. Tom had asked me to bring all the extra chairs from the gymnasium down to the basement storage room. After completing that task, I noticed the lights in the storage room were very dim, giving it a warehouse-like feel. I dropped a stack of chairs in the storage area and went back up to get more. When I returned, I saw that one of the mannequins was now uncovered. The cloth had been removed from it. I texted Tom, "I think someone's down in the basement." He replied, "What do you mean?" I explained that one of the art cloths had been moved. He texted back that no one else should be there. Then I noticed another cloth tucked into a corner of the storage room, outside the dim light. It was covering something, and I realized it was moving slightly. There was definitely someone hiding beneath it. Panicking, I ran back upstairs and locked the basement door, texting Tom that someone was hiding under a cloth. He told me to call the cops, but I insisted he come back since he had only left 10 minutes ago. He refused, urging me to confront whoever was down there. Reluctantly, I returned to the basement. The cloth was now lying flat on the floor, and the person hiding was gone. But then, I heard loud metallic thumps coming from above. Looking up, I saw indents forming in the large air vents above me. Someone was crawling through the vent and had stopped right above me. I was terrified. I ran up the stairs, locked the school up tight, and went home. The next day, I told Tom a partial truth, that I thought I saw someone in the corner, but it was gone when I went back. Thankfully, it was my last week there, so it wasn't my concern anymore. Thank you for watching these 3 creepy true horror stories. If you enjoyed the chills, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a spine-tingling tale. Have a story of your own? Share it in the comments. We'd love to hear it. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and remember, the scariest stories are often the true ones.